So we may need a temporary grammarian fill-in.
Well, clearly we can inform Keith that we don't actually need a vote counter because we actually have an orer.
No.
What is she?
She's
a divinations teacher who's going to automatically know what the votes are.
That is true.
But do we really trust Trelawney?
That is also true.
She was right twice.
Oh, I'm surprised you knew that.
Yeah.
She was right when it counted, I guess.
Exactly.
Good job.
I pay attention to the movies.
Yeah, but she ruined a lot of lives with that first one. Okay, Casey, I think we can call the meeting to order.
All right. Let's see. I'd like to call this magical meeting to order. Welcome, fellow Toastmasters and our guests. I invite you all to stand or place your hand on your heart while we say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which we stand, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, and I'd like to turn it over. Preston, are you our Toastmaster of the day?
I am.
And I'll turn it over to our very magical Toastmaster, Miss Cressina Allardyce.
Thank you. You know, one huge benefit of being Vice President of Education and being in charge of the scheduling is you can schedule yourself for the roles you want. And I really wanted to be Toastmaster today because Harry Potter is my favorite. And I wanted to celebrate him. Okay, so I really should have this memorized. Okay, we'll start with thought of the day. Elisha is going to provide that for us, and I hope it's Harry Potter related.
It's not, sorry. I've actually never really seen any of the Harry Potter movies, so if I gave you a thought of the day from the Harry Potter movies, it probably wouldn't be very good. So the thought of the day is actually going to be centered around a quote from Yogi Berra, who was a famous baseball player, Hall of Fame caliber, but he was also famous for his, let's say, silly sayings. This one is, when you come to a fork in the road, take it. Now, those are pretty terrible instructions if you're giving somebody instructions on how to get to your house for a party, which is actually what he was doing. But we can take this quote and apply it to other aspects of life, and it's probably a little bit more helpful. I think that I can speak for myself and maybe some others too when I say you get to a decision point in life and sometimes you think about it and you're not sure if what you're doing is right or wrong, and you end up not doing anything. I think what the quote really is getting at is whenever you come to a point when a decision needs to be made, make it, deal with any consequences that come from that decision, but you'll be happy that you did afterwards.
Awesome, thank you very much. Okay, it looks like we have a few guests today, so I'll provide a little more information about the flow of the meeting. So we like to start with a thought of the day just to get everyone in a great mindset for absorbing things. And next we will introduce what we call the back table, although there's no table or back of a room. So it's the functionaries that help us keep on track. And I will start with our awe counter. And we just got Joshua signed up for that, so.
Greetings, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests. The purpose of the awe counter is to note words and sounds that are used as crutches or pause fillers by anyone who speaks during the meeting. During the meeting, I will listen for overused words, including and, well, but, so, and you know. I will listen for the filler sounds, and I will note every time one of those phrases is used, and I will report the number of times that each speaker uses these expressions. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. Okay, and our grammarian is not here yet, so do we have anybody that's willing to fill the role? don't all jump at once.
I can do it, Crescent.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Do you have the
I will, can you go to somebody else and I'll grab the script real quick?
perfect? Okay. All right, so then we have our vote counter, which just filled in as Keith. So if you want to explain the voting process.
Sure. So I'm going to be sending out a poll, which will allow you to vote for your best speaker, best table topics, and best evaluator. I think it's easier if I send just one poll at the end and we vote for all three. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll send it in the chat here in Zoom, and then I can also email it to the distribution.
Awesome. All right, Elisha, are you ready?
Yeah, I am, sorry.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's quite all right. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests, as grammarian, it is my responsibility to pay close attention to all speakers, listening carefully to their language usage. I'll take note of any misuses of the English language, as well as any outstanding words, quotes, sayings, or thoughts. As far as the word of the day goes, maybe somebody can pick that who is a little more versed in Harry Potter and magical.
What if we use
language.
muggle?
Sure, right. Sounds great. The word of the day is muggle. Thank you.
Which is a non-magical person.
Can you use that in a sentence?
It appears I am a muggle.
Yes.
I'm not
There we go.
magical to my knowledge.
I was just gonna say you filthy muggle. Anyway, let's get started on the speaking portion of the meeting. We have 3 fabulous speakers today,
Point
and
of order, Preston. Did you do the timer?
I knew I forgot somebody. Okay, and you are timer, right? I lost it. No, it's Edgar. Is Edgar here? It looks like we are in need of a timer. Would you like to volunteer?
I don't have any cool backgrounds or any colors.
That's okay. Do you?
I have to go look for toys. Be right back. Maybe
Okay.
I can do it.
All right, I will read her, or I'll tell her thing while she goes and finds toys. So as timer, she will time people. And today, Casey will get the green light at 3 minutes, yellow at 3:30, and red at 4. And then both Ryan and Eli will get it at 5, 6, and the green at 5, yellow at 6, red at 7. Table topics will get the green light at 1 minute, yellow at 1 minute 30 seconds, and red at 2 minutes. And then evaluators will get the green light at 2 minutes, yellow light at 2 minutes 30 seconds, and red light at 3 minutes. And it won't be a light, it'll be whatever Landy finds. Give her just a sec to get back. And while, for a little more timer, I forgot to reach out to people for their intros. But I know that Casey will be our first speaker, and she will be giving a toast to Harry, a birthday toast to Harry, and also Neville.
All right, if you have a wand, I ask that you get it out at this time. Muggles, feel free to grab a glass for a toast as we pay tribute to our birthday boys. Today, we come together to celebrate a tribute to magic and a tribute to one of the most well-known stories of our generation. For many of us, the story of the boy who lived changed our lives. It even saved some of us from dark times, much like Harry Potter did for the wizarding world. For some people, the stories brought happiness, even through their darkest of times. This is a celebration for the 40th birthday of Neville Longbottom, whose birthday is today, and tomorrow we'll celebrate the same 40th birthday for the boy who lived, one Mr. Harry Potter. It was just a little over 22 years ago, but they stood bravely in front of Voldemort and saved the wizarding world. It was their choices on that day that showed us what they truly were on the inside, far more than their abilities. When our boys started at Hogwarts in the fall of 1991, they were young and naive. Within their 7 years, they faced many challenges, but persevered and grew from each and every one of them. It was that final year that changed the course of their lives and changed the entire course of the wizarding world. When Harry and the trio were off in search of Horcruxes, Neville kept Dumbledore's army alive and well and kept students safe in a time of uncertainty. They reminded us that working hard is important, but that there is something that matters even more, believing in yourself. For fans of the series, we have grown with our characters. It has given us an appreciation for magic and a world so unlike our own. Most people who have an interest in the wizarding world have found a character or a house that they will identify with. We've worn out copies of our novels. We've watched the movies multiple times. We own every prequel and every sequel, and we even own the merchandise, because of course I would have Crookshanks. The wizarding world is a family unlike most others. It is a fandom that bonds. It allows fans to find friends and to find love. The wizarding world saved my good friend's life and even led her to find her wife. Their wedding was themed after Harry Potter, and their son even ironically shares a birthday with Harry Potter star Daniel Radcliffe. I'd like to remind all of you today that happiness can be found even in the darkest of times, if only one remembers to turn on the light. So I invite all of you today to stand and raise your wands, and muggles would raise your glasses and a toast to Harry Potter, without whom we would not be here.
That was fantastic. Thank you very much, Casey. Fun fact, my car's name is Crookshanks. It's a little orange, so. All right. Our next speaker is Ryan Stiner, our beloved president. Ryan will rely on, where did my, sorry, there we go. Ryan will rely on facial expressions and body language as he attempts to teach his fellow Toastmasters how to perform a magic trick at home. The title of his speech is Learn Magic at Home. Please welcome Ryan Stiner.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, welcome guests. To commemorate this auspicious occasion, the 40th birthday of the boy who lived, I chose to celebrate in a unique way. I actually purchased myself a present. I ordered a new magic trick that I just had delivered here, and today, as an entire group, we're going to open up that magic trick and we're going to learn it together. So come with me. Okay, we got CD instructions.
Hello, and thank you for purchasing this amazing magic trick. You're first in a series of amazing tricks in 10 steps from the Magic Trick of the Month Club. This month's trick is the vanishing bandana. The #1 rule in magic is to never tell how a trick is done. So before we begin, we must take the magician's oath. Now raise your right hand. No, your other right hand. And repeat after me. I promise to never ever tell the secret of the magic trick. I also promise to never ever repeat what other people tell me to say. Let's get started. For this mystery, we've packed all you need in the box. Step 1. Dump the entire contents of the box onto your table. You'll find a square of fabric and a yellow bandana. We'll start with the yellow bandana. please pay attention. Step 2. Pick up the yellow bandana and fold it in half. That's right, I said fold it in half. Step 3. Fold the bandana one more time. Step 4. Take the folded bandana and hide it in your left hand. Remember to keep your hand in a natural position. This secret move is called hiding it in your left hand. Now that you've learned to hide it in your left hand, we can continue. Step 5. Unfold the bandana and wave it up and down to prove to your audience that it's a real bandana. If anyone from the audience does not believe it to be a real bandana, offer to drape it over their head. Step 6. Pick up the square of cloth and gather the 4 corners to form a makeshift bag. Step 7. Use your free hand to fold the bandana along the creases you made earlier. Drop the bandana into the makeshift bag. Step 8. From the outside of the bag, squeeze the bandana into a small little ball. What the audience doesn't know is that you didn't really drop it into the bag. You actually have it hidden in your left hand. Remember hiding it in your left hand that you learned before? Remember to keep your left hand held naturally. Step 9. Make a magical gesture over the bag. Fling open the cloth to show that the bandana has vanished. Step 10. Take a bow. You should now receive a well-deserved round of applause. If you don't think the trick went well, you probably missed something. So, go back to step 1 and start over. Good luck, and remember that a good magician never tells the secret.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ryan. Let me get Eli's introduction, which I thought I had up as well. There we go. Okay. Our next speaker is Eli Gray. For far too long, these two fandoms have been at odds. Now is the time to bring Lord of the Rings fans over to Harry Potter. Eli's speech will give us a plan to expand the Harry Potter book fandom into the Lord of the Rings domain. Please welcome Eli with his speech, Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter fandoms, coexistence is desirable.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters and fellow Muggles, it's my pleasure to be here today to address you on a critical issue that I think has been overlooked for far too long. Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter don't need to exist separately. We can coexist peacefully, and that's a good idea. So today, I'm going to share with you some differences that the two fandoms have, as well as some similarities where we can find common ground, and go through a plan that we could execute here, a public relations plan, to hopefully shorten that gap and bring the two fandoms closer together. So what's the objective of this plan? Well, we're trying to get Lord of the Rings fans into Harry Potter. Who are we targeting? Well, the audience is the Lord of the Rings fans as they exist currently. And there's many different ways that we can approach these fans, from posting on their fan pages to posting on some of their wikis, such as the One Wiki to Rule Them All for Lord of the Rings. In addition to that, social media posts are valuable as well. So let's talk about some of the differences between the two. And when I say differences, I mean things that could attract the other fandom here that they may not have in their stories. Because when I'm reading a story, I don't necessarily want to read the same thing over and over again. So first off, for Lord of the Rings, for those of you who may not know, it's a massive, epic, features over a 10,000-year world with languages, artifacts, history, and lore to match that 10,000-year spread, such as a creation myth, a fall myth, origin of Sauron as one of Melkor's lieutenants, the chain of events that each one after the other leads up to the events of The Hobbit, which eventually lead up to the events in the Lord of the Rings books. And it features a protagonist, Hobbit, in his early 40s, who's making a hero's journey that he doesn't want to do, right? That's what Lord of the Rings really has to offer from its fandom. Now, over on the Harry Potter side, what does Harry Potter have to offer Lord of the Rings? Well, it's got a world that's parallel to our own. And recently, that's become a very popular theme, probably due to the success of Harry Potter, but where you have another world that exists parallel to our own. So it shares our world history, it shares our world's myth, but now it has magic. And it features a mapping out the path for a middle school aged protagonist as he grows through his middle school and then high school years, eventually confronting the man responsible for the death of his parents. And that's important because it's a path that many of us have been through on our own. Maybe not the confronting the death of the parents, but the high school and middle school life. So it's something that's very relatable. Now, there are a bunch of similarities between the two fandoms, and I think this is where we can find common ground with Lord of the Rings fans. First, they both use what's called a soft magic system, where the rules of the magic that's being used within, it's not hard and fast. It's very open-ended. There's no clear rules in Lord of the Rings for how the magic there works, and there's no clear rules in Harry Potter for how the magic there works. So there's a lot of open-endedness in that magic system, and they share that. Not all fantasy epics do. Both feature a good and evil dynamic in their storytelling, where one side is wholly good and the other side is wholly evil. Not a lot of gray area in the good and the evil sides. And that's actually very rare among the fantasy genres, especially modern fantasy genres, because there's usually a lot of gray area. In addition to that, they both feature a fantasy world setting with a bunch of the creatures from Harry Potter being borrowed, or the names and the styles taken from Lord of the Rings, so Lord of the Rings fans will easily recognize those creatures. And they both have stirred the test of time. Lord of the Rings was released in 1953, and it continues to have a popular and ever-expanding fandom today, whereas Harry Potter was released in the 90s, starting in the late 90s, if I believe, and continues to be popular today, many years later. So I think that these similarities and differences can lead to the two fandoms coexisting in a beneficial fashion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eli. You always inspire me to want to read Lord of the Rings, and then I start it at the worst time and can never finish it. So I'll try again. Okay, thank you very much. Can I please get a timer's report?
Casey spoke for 3 minutes. Ryan for 4 minutes, 21 seconds, and Eli 5 minutes, 14 seconds.
Fantastic, thank you both. Okay, are we ready for some table topics? Rachel?
I sure am.
You.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Toastmasters, Muggles, and wizards and witches alike. I have something in store for you today, and if only I can predict who I will be choosing today to talk about Harry Potter. Do I have any volunteers, or should I select a Muggle from our team? Jason Senna, you have been selected. Thanks for volunteering. So, which Deathly Hallow would you choose and why?
Deathly Hallows. So I'm trying to recall what Deathly Hallows are. Is that like the wand, the cape, and what's the circle? Okay. Well, I guess the one that cuts my head is a wand. So like
Resurrection stone. So there's the cloth,
yeah.
the resurrection stone, and the elder wand.
Okay, yeah, I'm definitely going with the wand because you have so much versatility with the wand. You could be able to do different magic tricks. You could light the room up. You could cast a spell on someone. Like that's just your action item. So for me, I'll be able to, I don't know, take down my enemies and help save people whenever I can, stop traffic if needed. But lady needs to cross the road, I'll just wave the wand, cast a spell, and I stop the flow of the traffic. So that I'll be able to help someone out. So I think I'll be a better Samaritan, well, I can't say I'm a muggle because I'm using magic, but I'll be a better Samaritan if I have the Elder Wand in my possession.
Perfect. Thank you. Is there anyone else that likes to give this whirl and put your mind into the beyond?
Casey, I see her. Wait.
Casey. Hello, Casey.
Hi, Rachel. Or should I say
Hey.
Professor Trelawney?
Thank you, madam. What are your in-depth and controversial thoughts on Severus Snape?
I actually went down the rabbit hole last night of Harry Potter wiki pages, and Snape, it's difficult because when you're reading the books and watching the movies, you're kind of watching it through Harry's point of view. You're seeing Snape as the villain. You're seeing him as Snape instead of Professor Snape, which we finally get to hear Harry call him after he realizes who Snape really was as a person. I feel probably the same way I'm sure most people do, which is you want to see him as a villain, but he's kind of that villain that you end up rooting for at the end after you find out he really loved Lily, that through the entire time he was protecting Harry in his own Snape way of doing things. But I think what really changed my perspective was how Alan Rickman, may he rest in peace, played him. He was just magical about it, and just everything that he did, that he made you hate a guy that you ended up falling in love with in the end just because of what he gave his life for and what he did at Dumbledore's request.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that'd like to volunteer?
I do see a few non-members in the room also, and you guests are also welcome to participate in this activity.
Yes.
That includes even our youngest guests.
I see. I see one younger guest run away, Matilda. Hello, darling. I've got the right question for you today. In your opinion, who is more evil, Voldemort or Dolores Umbridge?
Umbridge.
She's evil. And explain why you feel Umbridge is a little bit more evil than Voldemort.
Because Voldemort wasn't originally evil. He just wanted power, and I don't think he intended to become evil. But Umbridge just wants to torture children, pretty much.
That sounds pretty accurate. Thank you for participating. Are we good on time? Should we have more time?
Yeah, we have time for like 2 more, I think.
2 more? Okay.
Molly?
Yeah.
Hey, Molly.
Hi.
All right. So, which character do you have a secret crush on?
Ooh, that's a good one. I have always had a secret crush on Neville, and I have always kind of liked the nerdy guys, and everybody always had a crush on Harry. everybody always had a crush on Ron because they're the stars, and especially Draco because he's the bad boy. But me, I always liked Neville. I always thought he had a really good heart. He stood up to his friends in the first movie, even though that may not have been the popular decision. And then he grew up hotter than the rest of them. So I think I made a pretty good choice in Neville. And then he's also very brave. He ends up being one of the main reasons as to why Harry was successful in the first place. If not for him, the ending would probably be a lot different. And he fights for what's right, and he's just a good person.
Perfect. Definitely a fierce friend and an amazing person. So for one more, who would like to talk? I'm going to pick somebody. I'm going to go with Wendy.
Eli.
Eli, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see your hand there, Eli. I lost my sight. Eli, I would like you to answer this question. Which house do you belong to?
I am so glad that you asked that question. I had the background ready to go and everything.
Yay!
You'll see over here, there is a very misunderstood house called Slytherin. And it gets a bad rap all the time in the Harry Potter books, but you have to understand, those books are from the perspective of Harry Potter, right? So you have Draco Malfoy representing, and his cronies, just a couple bullies, representing this entire great house, right? If they were all evil, they would have been kicked out of Hogwarts a long time ago, right? There's good things that are done. There never was a wizard who went bad that didn't come from there, sure, but some of the greatest things that have ever been done in the wizarding world were by people from this house. So, great power comes great responsibility. All right, sure, yeah, there's bad ones. But a lot of good things happen too. Major discoveries, major advancements. So yes, Slytherin is my house, Slytherin and proud. Slytherin and proud.
Thank you, Eli. I guess that would be all. Should we have time for one more, or are we good?
I think we should move on because we have 3 evaluators today. So I love that. Eli, I think you're forgetting some of the fantastic achievements from my Hufflepuff. We have all the magical beasts and where to find them. So come on, can't discount them. Okay, Landy, may I have a timer's report, please?
Yes. Jason spoke for 1 minute and 10 seconds. Casey, 1 minute, 15 seconds. Matilda, 15 seconds. Molly, 57 seconds. Eli, 1 minute, 16 seconds.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, are we ready for some evaluations? Let me get up my... Okay, so our first evaluator is Monica, who will be evaluating Casey.
Hello and welcome, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I'm going to be evaluating Casey and her toast of Harry Potter and Neville for their birthdays. And I just want to say that I truly felt an amazing amount of love and appreciation for the life and the challenges that they presented and how they overcame those difficult times in their lives to become the people that they ended up being. And I thought Casey did a great job of really highlighting those bright spots in their life and how they brought everyone together, even in dark times, and had an impact that went far beyond their immediate knowledge and area of understanding. And so for that, I really just want to say I think Casey did a great job on her speech or her toast. And I really encourage her to keep going because she's done a great job with that. And I really can't find anything negative to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we will have Megan evaluating Ryan.
Thank you. Hello, fellow Toastmasters, welcome guests, and especially Mr. President Ryan Stiner. For your speech today, your goals were to were to deliver the speech with awareness of intentional and unintentional body language, as well as to learn, practice, and refine how you use nonverbal communication when delivering a speech. You threw a curveball at me and I wasn't ready. I was not ready to just watch a video. However, I will say that I'm going to start with my negative, but then I'm going to go to all the positives. So my negative was, in the current state that we're in, obviously we experienced some technical difficulties and all of our videos were very glitchy. However, I was able to still see the amazing facial expressions during that video. I was able to follow your confusion, your looking at these two items like, what? So regardless, I was still able to follow that with the glitchiness of the video. If you were to do this speech again in our state of Zoom meetings, which will probably be forever, right? If you were to ever do this again, my recommendation to you would be to try and find a different media player to see if maybe that was the cause of the glitchiness, or maybe running it beforehand with a couple people just to see, hey, how did this end up on your end, just as a practice run. Other than that, Ryan, always super impressed with your speeches. Throwing the curveball at me at the last minute, I applaud you for that, because that is our current state, recording videos and having the ability to do so and not doing it on a whim in the meeting rooms here at the building. So I learned a little bit from Magic is that you never tell the secret, but now we know. So it's very confusing, but great job. And I look forward to hearing your next speech. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And our third evaluator is Wendy, who will evaluate Eli.
Thank you, Crescent. So I have to take the opportunity to pull this out, since this is the Elder Wand, and when I graduated from college, my parents got this for me, so I have to put it to good use at least once. So expecto patronum. This is the magic phrase from Harry Potter that basically gets rid of a creature called the Dementors. The Dementors suck all of the happiness and life out of the world. And they're really, you have to focus and channel your energy on remembering the happiest times in your life. And Eli, I think that you really evoked that for your audience today in terms of their great love of two fandoms, which is both Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings, because what's not to love about magic in all its different forms? And I think that you really effectively captured not only the magic of your stories, but the magic of the platform on which that you're presenting. You really were cognizant of what your audience was seeing on this very new Zoom platform. You used your gestures effectively to bridge the gap between fandoms, and you were very conscious of basically the background as well, which bonus points for that as well. You had a very effective and salient image behind you. And you were also cognizant of the fact that your audience comes from different places and they may not actually be immersed in both fandoms as you are. So you took your time to define Lord of the Rings for us and share a little bit of your knowledge on the background of that, so we weren't coming in blindsided. You also used Muggle, the word of the day, very effectively, which is difficult to do during extemporaneous speaking. And you grasped the high-level themes and did a wonderful parallel and comparison between the two. My wish for you for next time is, there's something, I don't know if you've ever heard of the modes of persuasion. There's a triangle. So ethos, pathos, and logos. Now, you really hit in your speech effectively on ethos and logos. Those are the two types of persuasion that focus on logic and evidence and really delving into the facts. However, I think your speech could be made even better by the incorporation of pathos, which is the audience's connection to those two different fandoms. Basically, you didn't tell us what those two fandoms meant to you, and what they also meant to those audiences. Also, you brought out a really good point, which was the release date on Lord of the Ring differs very dramatically to Harry Potter, which was released in the 90s. So does that factor into who's a fan and what platforms to engage them on with your PR strategy? So thank you so much again for sharing your parallel with us. And I don't know, I was trying to figure out a fantastic way to end this in terms of a magical term. Crescent, do you have any final thoughts? Guardian Leviosa?
Yeah, the only thing I could think of would be Nox, which is off.
Nox, perfect. All right, thank you, Eli, again.
Thank you all very much. Fantastic evaluations, very helpful. Timers report is what is next.
Monica spoke for 53 seconds, Megan for 2 minutes and 6 seconds, Wendy for 3 minutes and 40 seconds.
Thank you. All right, Keith, are we ready with the voting? We are? Perfect.
I just sent the poll in the chat, and I'm also sending it as an email for those that might not be able to see the chat.
All right, if everyone can take a moment and please vote for best speaker, best table topics, and best evaluator, and we'll get the results in just a sec. And I'm going to give everyone, because we'll do the back table report, but they also need to vote. So we'll give a little 30-second break. I love how creative you were with them, Keith.
I tried. And votes are coming in.
Awesome. Okay, has our grammarian finished voting?
Yes, he has.
All right, then I will start with you.
Okay. So here is my report on the grammar used during the speeches, table topics, and evaluations. Casey, you used some phrases that I liked, such as happiness in the darkness, we just have to turn on the light. And I was impressed by your correct usage of without whom we would not be here. That's a tough one for a lot of people, including myself. Ryan, I actually didn't have anything for you. There wasn't a ton of speaking on your part, but I'll echo the Megan's comments about your facial expressions being great. Communicated that way well. Eli, other Eli, there were a few things I picked up on. There were a few subject-verb agreements, such as rules is and there is many different ways to approach these fans. And then there was a bit of slang that crept in, doesn't want to do. So maybe next time just make sure that you're saying it how you would write it, if that makes sense. But there were some very good word usage using epic to describe Lord of the Rings, which is both correct from a literal and figurative sense. And the term soft magic I thought was great because it's so accurate whenever you think about any fantasy book or movie and how that applies. And then in your table topic, it gets a bad rap, great phrase, and then referring to Slytherin as cronies. I thought that was also very good. Jason, you used I'd be a better Samaritan. That was a good idea. Referencing the parable from the Bible, I'm assuming. But maybe throw in a good Samaritan just so people are sure and make sure they definitely get the reference. Matilda, I like the quote, he wanted power and became evil along the way. I feel like that probably applies to a lot of people, both in movies and in real life. Rachel used the phrase, Neville was a fierce friend. Thought that was very noteworthy. And then moving on to evaluators, Monica said that impact went far beyond their knowledge and understanding. She was referring to Harry and his friends, but I think it's a great phrase as it relates to movies and books because it really describes what makes them memorable. Megan used the phrase state of Zoom, which is very appropriate given our state that we're at now. And then Wendy used a lot of good words, I thought. Evoked, cognizant, salient, parallel, and then bringing up the triangle of persuasion was really the cherry on top. So excellent job, everybody. We had Casey, Eli, and I think somebody else used Muggle, but I can't find it on my notes. So good job, everyone.
Thank you very much. All right, let's move to our awe counter, Joshua.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. I took diligent notes, and I will tell you my results right now. So, Miss Brasscombe, just one ah. Wendy, I had 5 ahs, 4 ums, and 5 so's. Megan, I had 1 ah, 1 and 1 but. Monica, great job. I didn't note anything. Eli Gray, for your table topics, I noted 3 so's and 2 buts. Molly, I noted 1 but. Matilda, I noted 2 likes and 1 but. Casey, for your table topics, 1 but. Jason, 1 1 well, and 3 so's. Rachel, I did not note anything. Eli, for your non-table topic speech, 1 well and 4 so's. Ryan, I did not note anything for you. Casey, for your speech, I did not note anything either. Well done. Keith, I noted 2 ums and 1 so. Crescent, I noted 1 2 so's and 1 but. And Eli, Satoon, you talked a few different times. I noted 8 ums and 1 but. And that is my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I love the detailed reports. Okay, vote counter. Are we ready with the results?
We are indeed. Yeah.
All right.
So start with the evaluator, work backwards.
Sure, that works.
So our best professor for today is Wendy. And our best prophecy for table topics was a very tight race, but it goes to Matilda. And last but not least, of course, best spellcaster, strongest wizard of the day is Casey.
Fantastic job, everyone. Congratulations. Let me write down the winners before I forget them.
I've been doing that too, Kristen. I have a whole list.
Well, I have to close them out in the
Okay.
in the meeting, and
It's been going since like we started, so it's like whenever I get back in office, we can send everybody
ribbons.
Stuff. Yeah.
Very nice. Okay, let me first say, fantastic meeting, everyone. I had a lot of fun. I am glad that many of you got really into it as well with your backgrounds and attire and speeches. It was just amazing. So thank you all for letting me have my party. And I will pass it off to Ryan, our president, to give us closing remarks.
Thank you, everybody, for participating, and Crescent for pouring so much into this. I know how very important Harry Potter's birthday is to you, and that's evident in the passion in which you put into having this special day. I really enjoyed seeing all the extra faces today. I also even have Sonia Wallace. This might be her. Is this your first? Is this her first time? Wonderful. And thank you, Rich, for bringing Matilda back. Karina Saki-chan is also silently here in the room enjoying this. And then my wife, who also took some time from working in the living room for her other job. We will be trying to have even more of these themed events. So please, as a theme comes up that you feel passionate about, do everything you can to really show that passion. And if you have an idea for a theme that you'd like to see for a future meeting, please share that either with myself or with Crescent. We'd be glad to figure out how we can make that happen. Again, thank you, everybody. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think bye everyone. Thank you.
Bye.